Eventually. Yeah. Okay. So shoot me an email later. Remind me that I sent your CETA. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen. You can see from our agenda today that we are starting off with a quiz on accuracy and precision. To do this quiz, you do need your Chromebook because it is on your Chromebook. But you'll also need your notebook probably to look up the equation for percent error. And you can also use your notebook for scrap paper to work out the calculation. You will need your calculator to do any calculations that are asked of and so forth. So go ahead and take out your notebook. You're also going to need your Chromebook. Probably something to write with, like a pen or pencil, preferably pencil, and your calculator. I believe the quiz has just been posted, so you should see it in your list of to-dos. If it's not there, it should say 1A quiz. If it doesn't, if it's not showing up, let me know and I'll go in and manually push it out to you. And once you've completed the quiz, you can put your Chromebook away. Is it there? The quiz? Yes, excellent. Very good. Give you a couple minutes to take that quiz and then we'll move on. That's so you can use it for scrap paper, but go ahead, get your Chromebook opened and get the quiz out. Chromebooks take a little while to load up, so you want to open it up and get it powered up and started right away. Again, once you've completed the quiz, you can put your Chromebook away. And then you'll need your packet from yesterday, along with the items up on the board. Bless you. Give you one more minute to wrap it up. All right, we can put our Chromebooks away. And what we're going to do now is finish up what we were doing yesterday with calculations with SigFix. So if you could make sure you've got your notebook out with yesterday's notes on how to start off doing SigFix, and open up your packet for Unit 1 to page 3, where we ended our class yesterday going over 4 practice questions on the top of page 3, dealing with addition and subtraction and expressing the proper answer with SigFix. And I was starting to go around the room to get both the calculator answer and the final answers from you. So that's what we're going to do now, is just check that you have the correct final answers for those addition and subtraction problems. And then, you have the correct calculator answer and the correct final answer, and that you understand how to come up with those before we then look at how we do multiplication and division, which is a little bit different of a process. Tonight's homework in your packet, 2 pages, pages 4 and 5. Please complete pages 4 and 5 in your packet. So if you pull this out, look at page 4 and 5, make a note somewhere to get those 2 pages done for tomorrow. Page 4 is on how many SigFigs are in those measurements. You're going to use your Atlantic Pacific rule to help you do that. And then page 5 is about practicing doing the calculations again. Then tomorrow what we'll do is we'll go over the answers to those 2 pages, and then we'll take a quiz on that, also on your Chromebook. Okay? All right. So let's continue. Let me unfreeze the screen here. So we did 11A yesterday. We got the calculator answer, and then we said we had to round it to 2 decimal places beyond the point, because the second factor here had the fewest or the least, it was the least precise measurement out to the 100th place, so we had to round to the 100th place. So let's follow that same process for part B. Let's see. Elisa, can you tell me what the calculator answer was to 11B, please? That is correct, and that is in kilograms. Now, that is not the answer we're going to write as our final answer. What do you get for the final answer, Maxwell? That is correct. And the reason we are rounding to the ones place is because the first factor has no digits to the right of the ones place. The 0.94 has 2 digits to the right of the decimal point. This has 1 and this has 3. We round to the least precise measurement. So this is the least precise. So that means we're going to round to this place here. But since the next digit is a 7, we have to round that up to a 6. Everybody got that? How many of you got that right? Excellent. Give yourself a star if you got it right. Let's go on to number 12A then. So, Khalees, what did you get for the calculator answer for 12A? That is correct. 1,641.01 meters. So that's not going to be the final answer. Can you tell me, Jackson, what you got for your final answer? That is correct. Again, because this has 1 digit to the right of the decimal point. This one has 2. So we're going to round to just 1 place to the right of the decimal point. That is our 10th place position. Since the next digit is a 1, we do not round it up. It stays a 0, and that gives us this as our final answer. And usually, again, we box in our final answers just to kind of clue everyone in to that. Shelly, can you tell me what you got for the calculator answer, please, for 12B? And what units would you like to put that in? Hours, that's right, lowercase h. Now, what are we going to round that to? Blake? That is correct, hours again, because this one has 3 digits to the right of the decimal point. This one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 digits to the right of the decimal point. So we're going to round it to the 3rd place, 1, 2, 3, right here. The next digit is a 9, which means we have to round up, and that gives us 2.222. Very good. Again, if you got these correct, give yourself a star on those too. Any questions? All right, then let's go back to our notes. And what we're going to do now is finish up the notes on significant figures with adding. Well, we did adding and subtracting. Now we're going to talk about what do you do if you are multiplying or dividing numbers or measurements. Not numbers, but actual numerical measurements. So let me shift over to that. And then we'll practice it. And then any time we have left will be yours to start working on that written assignment. Hopefully you'll be able to get most of it done before you leave today. All right, let's talk about what we do when we multiply or divide measurements. Now, you remember yesterday we talked about how addition and subtraction are really the same thing, because when you subtract, it's like you're adding a negative. When you multiply and divide, that's also really the same thing, because when you are dividing, it's like multiplying by the reciprocal of a number, 1 over something. That's why we can say multiplying and dividing are the same rules. So the first thing you're going to do, just like we did yesterday, is just do the calculator operation, plug it into the calculator, get a numerical answer on your calculator. And then what you'll do is you're going to look at the measurements that you were given and figure out which factor has the fewest sig figs. So here you're going to need to use your Atlantic Pacific rule to figure out how many sig figs each factor has. And then you're going to go with the smallest number. Then what you'll do is you're going to round the calculator answer so that way it also has that fewest number of sig figs. It's going to match it. Okay, you ready to look at a couple of examples of how that works before we try and practice it ourselves? Okay. Can I go on? Okay. So, I don't want to do the video yet. Let's look at an example. 131 centimeters multiplied by 2.5 centimeters. Let's put this in our notebook. 131 centimeters multiplied by 2.5 centimeters. All right, so the first thing is go to your calculator. And what does the calculator tell you that answer is? Emma, can you tell me what the calculator gives you? Yeah, and it's actually centimeters squared. When you multiply a centimeter by a centimeter, it's like doing an area. So we get centimeters squared. Like there's two of them. The centimeter times a centimeter gives you a centimeter squared. 327.5 centimeters squared. Now that is not going to be our final answer because it does not follow the rule that we just talked about with measurements. So what we now need to do is look at how many significant figures these two numbers have using your Atlantic Pacific rule. So the first measurement, we're going to use our Atlantic rule. The decimal's absent, so we're going to count this way. How many sig figs does 131 centimeters have? Flavia, can you tell me? That has 3. All right, 2.5, we're going to use the Pacific rule because the decimal point is present. We're going to count this way, starting with our first non-zero. Haley, can you tell me what that gives us? 2. Which one is smaller, 3 or 2? 2. Okay, so we have to round the answer to 2 digits, or 2 non-zeros, basically. That's where we want to go to here. 1, 2. We count from the left. That means we're going to round to the tens place. We're going to round to the tens place. So that means you look at the ones place to figure out if you're going to round up the 2. So that means this answer is either 320 or 330. You follow what I'm saying to round to the tens place? Either 320 or 330. Kara, what do you think it's going to be? 330 centimeters squared, because that 7 makes the 2 go up a digit. So the final answer to this with 2 sig figs would be 330 centimeters squared. Okay, what I would recommend you do when you're working this type of question out, like we did with the last one, get your calculator answer down like it shows with the units. Then come back, and next to each one, write down how many sig figs there are. There's 3, there's 2, so that means we have to round here. Since that's a 7, we're going to round that up to make that 330 centimeters squared. The other ones just become a 0, but we don't add decimal place positions because then that would change the rule. This now has an absent decimal, so we would go this way, and you can double check. Since it's absent, here's the Atlantic, there's the Pacific. We're going to count this way. We can see we're going to count this one and this one, giving us 2, which is what we're looking for. And that's why the answer is 330 centimeters squared. Okay, good. Let's try one more. I'm going to try to throw a curveball at you. See if I can trick you. $131 centimeters multiplied by 2.3 centimeters. What's the calculator answer here? Janicia, can you tell me? 301.3, and the units would be centimeter squared, because a centimeter times a centimeter gives us a centimeter squared. Does everybody agree with that? Okay. All right, so Ryder, can you tell me how many sig figs does 131 centimeters have? 3. Miriam, how many sig figs does 2.3 have? 2. Which means how many sig figs do I need on my final answer? 2. I need 2. 1, 2. It means I need to round to that place right there. Okay. So we either have to write 300 or 310. Vincent, am I going to make this 300 or 310? 300. Now here's the problem. If I write it like that, how many sig figs does that have, Gianna? 1. How many do I need? I need 2. So the next logical thing that people try to do is say, oh, let me just put a point at the end so I can use the Pacific rule instead. Let's try it. If I add the point to it, Ryan, how many sig figs does it now have? 3. Uh-oh. You see the problem? I don't want either of those. I need 2. This is actually a segue into what we're going to talk about tomorrow. There's another way to write this number. You can write every number as a power of 10. You know what I'm talking about? Scientific notation. Remember we looked at a couple of numbers yesterday that were in scientific notation to figure out the sig figs on them. And we said, just look at the number out front of the power of 10, the coefficient. That's what we have to do here. Anybody know how to write 300 as a power of 10? Yes.
3.0 times 10 power of 2.
That's right, because 10 to the power of 2 is 100. So we need the coefficient to have the 2 sig figs like this. 3.0 times 10 to the 2 centimeters squared. So that would actually be our final answer. Am I going to quiz you on that kind of a question now? No, because I haven't taught you about scientific notation yet. That is tomorrow's lesson. So after tomorrow's lesson, you can expect you might have to do a question like that on a quiz or a test. I will tell you there is one problem like that on tonight's homework, but it shouldn't be that big a stretch for you if you took good notes today. Okay? You'll see why when you get there. You'll be like, oh, this is almost the exact same thing she just did with us today. Okay, in class as an example. All right, any questions on this? I'm not going to do the video review of this. I think we don't need to waste our time on that right now. So what I'd like us to do is now go back to your packet. And you'll see in your packet why it disconnected me from the projector again, I don't know. There we go. Please try now on your own problems 13 and 14 here. All 4 of those. All 4 of those. Give all 4 a try. I think there's a mistake on one of them. Yes, 14B. It's missing something. The first factor is missing a unit. Can you please add the unit kilograms after 4.301? 4.301 kilograms divided by 1.9 centimeter cubed. All right, give those 4 questions, 13A and B, 14A and B. Again, do like we did before. Write your calculator answer first so we're able to figure out if you're having an issue with the calculator or if you're having an issue with the sig figs. third place. 2 doesn't make that one down. That's right. Now the thing is, the units are not right. A meter times a meter. Correct. There you go. So box that one in this. Don't forget to put units on your answers. And if you finish while we're waiting for everyone to finish, you can go ahead and start working on those 2 pages of homework while we wait for everybody. Don't forget to put your calculator answers first. Anyone still working on those 4 questions? All right, let's go around the room and check them, all right? Do you want to check with a partner first, or can we just go right into checking it? Oh, let's just be brave. We're just going to go right into it. Let's just check them, okay? So let's start with 13A. Let's see. I think I left off with Alex. Alex, can you tell me what your calculator answer was to 13A, please?
0.13247
And what units would you say that is in?
meters squared.
Correct. Now let's go through the sig figs on the first factor here. Nikolai, how many factors are in 10.19? Or how many sig figs are in that? 4, thank you. And Devin, can you tell me how many are in 0.013? 2, good. So how many sig figs do I need on this answer one? 2, that's right. So that means we're going to go to this place right here. We go from the left, 1, 2, to that place. So since the next digit is a 2, that means our final answer, Chaudhry, is going to be 0.1 meters squared. That is correct. 0.13 meters squared is the correct final answer. How many of you got that? Fabulous. Give yourself a star. All right, let's go to 13B. Elisa, can you tell me what the calculator answer is, please? It's a long one, I know. I'm sorry. That is correct. Any idea what the units would be? Correct. Centimeter cubed, because there's 3 centimeters. Centimeter times centimeter times centimeter, centimeter cubed. All right, let's check the number of sig figs on each of those 3 factors. Maxwell, can you tell me 140.01 has how many sig figs? Yes, that is correct. How about 26.042, Khalees? That also has 5. And Jackson, how many does 0.0159 have? 3. So how many sig figs, Shelly, do I need on my final answer? 3. So 1, 2, 3, right here. We have to round to that place right there. So it means our answer is either 57.9 or we would round up a tenth to 58.0. So based on that digit here being a 7, what are you going to tell me the final answer is, Blake? 58.0. And what units should that have? That is correct. That is our final answer, 58.0 centimeters cubed. Give yourself a star if you got it right. Okay, let's go to number 14. Now we're going to tackle division questions, which are really the same thing. Emma, what's the calculator answer for 14A, please? 6,667. Yep. And do you know what units this is going to have? That's right, a meter per second, or m over s. That's a speed in the metric system. Okay, so how many significant figures, Flavia, are in 80.23? That is correct. And Haley, how many are in 2.4? 2. So how many sig figs do I need, Gavin, for my final answer? 2. So that means we're going to round 1, 2 to that place right there. So Kiara, we're going to look at that next digit. So what does that mean our final answer is? That's right, 33 meters per second. Very good. You got that right. Give yourself a star. All right, last one. Janicia, can you tell me what the calculator answer is, please? 2.2636.84211. Any idea what the units are going to be? That is correct. This is a density calculation. Mass over a volume, density. All right, so how many sig figs, Ryder, are in 4.301? That has 4. Miriam, how many does 1.9 have? 2. So how many sig figs, Sydney, do I need on my final answer? Yep, so we go 1, 2. That's our second place. So we look at the 6 to figure out whether we're going to round that up or not. And so, Vincent, what's our final answer?
2.3 kilograms per centimeter cubed.
That's it. Very good. How many of you got all 4 of those questions right? That's awesome. Very good. So as I mentioned, the next 2 pages are meant to help you practice all of the rules for sig figs. So that's your homework. And I want to give you the remaining time that we have to work on getting both pages done. You might get them both done before you leave. On page 5, if they ask you to do the math, like subtract, can you show the calculator answers first, just like we did on the practice? Because if you don't do that and you get it wrong, we don't know if you're making a calculator mistake or if you're making a sig fig rule mistake. You know what I mean? Just like what we were doing on the practice. Keep doing it the same way. And tomorrow we'll take a quiz on this. So you want to make sure you're doing that practice to help you study.